The first one that I got for you guys is from Realist123. Realist said, Luka is washed. Luka can't drive. Lakers offense is bad. I told y'all to relax. Playoff time, Luka will hunt mismatches. Send two, then Bron, AR, or Rui will be open. Who can actually stop
I'm not sending two. I'm not sending two to Luka. I'm just not. Is what it is. We'll lose. Cool. I'm not sending two.
How did the Clippers guard them? They can't send two. Well, because they have to send two in the drop.
I gotta get the ball out of his hands. I have to get the ball out of his hands. I have to. I gotta get the ball out of Luka's hands.
I'm not sending two. I don't see how that's so valuable. When you have LeBron and Reeves on the backside, that's not smart. I'm sorry, it's not you force Luka to beat you in isolation, especially this Luka that doesn't have burst.
The best scorer in the game, Mars?
He's not the best scorer in the game.
He's not at all. Not at all. He's not at all.
He's still not.
Man, I'm so sick of that, bro. Let's have this conversation.
Last year, Luka, cool. I'll have the conversation.
Sure, yeah.
This Luka that's slow as hell. He's not the best scorer. There's no way you can watch this Luka Doncic and say he's a better scorer than Shea. There's just no way you can.
He's having a better season. I'm not going to argue that part. I'm not going to have you.
But Luka he's just clearly playing well. Unless you think Luka can get back athletically to where he was last year, then sure, let's have the conversation. But the Luka Doncic that has been playing this season, there's no way you think he's the best scorer in the league. There's no way.
Even with what he's been doing, still getting downhill, still
barely.
But hey, last I checked. The commission doesn't say barely NBA champions. So the fact
it does say barely getting downhill,
but it ain't barely working though. I can tell you that
it's working. Barely working.
But it's working.
I think this man been scoring since he's been in LA.
He's shooting 46% from two, and then 40% from three.
He's shooting 48% from two now.
And I think he's averaging
2-pointers.
And I think he's averaging
it's gone up the last week.
31 a game. 30. I think he's averaging 38.
Yeah, but that's not the
27. He's averaging 27 on the Lakers. He's shooting 48%.
27 on the Lakers.
48% from two, and only 11 of his shots are coming at the rim. He's barely getting downhill. He's heavily relying on 3-pointers, and he's barely getting by people at this point, especially consistently. That's not the best scorer in the league.
But he's not in the conversation for the best scorer in the world, though.
More athletic in the playoffs.
Mars, though, that would look a whole lot different if they didn't send two. I do want to say that. It would look, and I'm kind of with you though on not sending two, but I will say if they weren't sending two, that 27 might damn near be 35.
Right?
What?
He might.
It's harder.
That's what I'm saying.
Wait, but chill. Wait, you're telling me you're seeing two clearly better scoring seasons than this year than Luka by a huge leap this season. It's not even a conversation between who the best scorers in the league are right now. Luka's not there.
Arguably the best scorer in the game.
You called him the best scorer. That's what
I did call him the best scorer.
That's why we disagree.
But as of today, he's arguably in your estimation.
I don't see the argument besides just saying you think he can get back to what he was. That's the only argument. That's the only. But that the argument is who's the best scorer in the league today. You can't be like, if Luka gets back to what he was a year ago, then he's
no. That's not what I'm saying.
Right now, he's not. He's not in the conversation right now.
That's not what the idea that he's not in the conversation with. He's still averaging 27 a game, barely getting to the rim.
Yeah, but the other two players are averaging 30 on 65 and 67, dog.
Okay, how is Luka today a better scorer?
And I'm hurt.
How is Luka today a better scorer than Kevin Durant?
Today?
Yes, today.
Okay, well,
he's also averaging 27 a game, by the way.
Okay, so KD doesn't get to his spots like he used to. That's number one. KD doesn't. Luka still gets to the rim. He might not get to the rim as much as you'd like for him to get to the rim.
Oh,
today?
Yeah.
Today, KD gets
you're
to the rim.
doing the thing that you always do, where you compare players to their former selves.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about
KD does not get to the rim like he used to.
That's what I'm talking about.
KD is getting to the rim more than Luka is.
I watch KD today with that Phoenix Suns team. I watch him live in the mid-range. I watch him live in the mid-post. I watch him live in stop and pop. He doesn't seem to get to the rim. Now, maybe your numbers tell me something different. But when I watch KD, right? Well, when I watch KD on that Phoenix Suns team, he lives on that right wing and that right elbow, getting to the mid-range way more. Why? Because he doesn't have the athleticism to get downhill like he used to. He doesn't get to the rim. For me, watching him like he used to, he lives on that right wing and he lives on that left.
Well, Kevin Durant is shooting 79% at the rim this year on a fairly good amount of attempts, and he's shooting from mid-range, 53% from mid-range, and he's shooting 41% on above the break threes this year. He's having a phenomenal scoring season.
Bear with me.
And Luka and Luka, for all intents purposes, is having a below average scoring season. Is that correct?
For his standards, yes.
Because he's averaging 27 a game, right? Because he's averaging 27 a game, and we're only going off of what he's done this season. So he's a substantially worse scorer than both SGA and, let's say, Joker. He's a substantially less scorer than those two guys because he's not as athletic as he was last year, even though he's still averaging 27 a game.
Luka's shooting 70% at the but I'm saying on similar volume this year, like he's shooting 9% worse at the rim on similar volume as Kevin Durant.
The fact that he's not even in the conversation.
So Kevin Durant scores more. Kevin Durant scores more at the rim
1 year
because he's more efficient.
So we have
but the volume is actually very similar. So
that's what I'm saying.
The volume is similar, but KD's more efficient at the rim, so he scores more at the rim. And then you factor in just the clearly better mid-range shooter. The better.
He's a better mid-range shooter than Luka. I'll definitely give you that part. Yes, 100%.
And I still think both of them don't get to their spots at the elite level that Shea and Jokic do. But KD is. I don't agree. I don't think the argument why Luka's a better scorer than KD today can be because Luka gets to his spots. I don't think that can be the argument.
And
that's just part of it. That's just part of the argument because Luka still gets to the him and KD get to the rim similarly.
Similar.
KD, yes, they get to the rim similarly.
And he's Luka, almost 10% more efficient at the rim.
Right, and with him, these are the facts. I have nothing. You guys got all of these numbers. I have nothing.
I hate to step in and interrupt this intense yap session that you're currently watching, but I just have to inform you on all the amazing, spectacular, fabulous, endless ways to play and win over at PrizePicks. Basketball fans, I know the season is just tipping off. Yes, I know this. But you know what that means? It means that you have an opportunity to pick your favorite players and their matchups that are the most thrilling, and you can win money from these. With PrizePicks, you can play daily NBA contests and test your hoop knowledge by choosing the player projections in every single stat line imaginable to make your PrizePicks and take home some nice hard-earned cash. Are you a rookie in the game? Don't even sweat it. I got the playbook for you right here. All you have to do is download PrizePicks, use promo code PANEL, and you will get $50 instantly when you play 5 here with PrizePicks. So what are you waiting for? Download PrizePicks, use promo code PANEL, and join me as we break down all of our amazing daily picks right here on the panel. PrizePicks, run your game, control your game, win your game. It's easy, baby. It's easy.
Well, I just looked him up now.
I don't have anything for this. You guys have all the numbers. I was just talking basketball, but these are the numbers, and I have nothing to compare.
Well, the numbers are what's unfolding. We're not like using advanced analytics that can be skewed. The numbers are just telling you what's happening when like Kevin Durant is shooting 79% of the rim, 52% on short mid range, 55% on long mid range. Like
I'm watching Luka from a guy who last year averaged almost 35 a game.
That Luka
this year.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going from 1 year where we have a drastic change where we got a guy who, in my estimation, had the best. I think he's the best scorer in the game. So we go from that to now not even being in the conversation where 1 year where he's still averaging 27, almost 27, 28 a game. And I think it was a stretch with the Lakers where he was averaging 30 a game for, I think, 6 or 7 games.
The month of March.
Where he
was averaging 30 a game on pull-up threes. But now he's not in the conversation as one of the best scorers in the game.
Well, because now we changed the word 3 times.
The best scorer in the game. This is what I'm talking about. The best scorer in the game because he was hurt and he's not as athletic as he was, even though he's still getting to where he got to get to. He might not be getting there as much. He's still getting to where he has to get to. He's still getting to the rim. He's still cracking the long ball. You just told me he was shooting 46% on pull-up threes. And this is a guy who missed 2 months, right? This guy who you said the same thing to me, Mars. 2 months. You said the same thing to me, Mars. 3 months ago when Joker was shooting 46% of the
and at least with Jokic, he's shooting for the most part, catch and shoot wide open threes. So I didn't think that was sustainable. Absolutely, Jokic has very clearly improved as a 3-point shooter. He get tip of the cap. Well done.
Yep.
Luka Doncic shooting 40% on pull-up threes over a month stretch on 10 pull-up threes a game. Yes, that's not sustainable. That's not sustainable. That's not sustainable for any human being.
10 is a lot.
Steph Curry's not doing that.
Kevin Durant.
So yes, that's not sustainable. Luka Doncic is a good Luka Doncic is a good 3-point shooter.
Sure.
But if the way for him to score 30 these days efficiently is for him to shoot 40% on 10 pull-up threes a game, and he's still and in that month of March, still a poor 2-point scorer, not getting to the rim that much. The reason his 2-point percentage is so low is not because he can't finish at the rim, it's because when he very rarely gets there and he's having to settle for these turnaround jump shots and he's trying to get these floaters up over defender. Like, it's tougher because he's not getting by people. Kevin Durant doesn't have that same problem. Kevin Durant doesn't get by people just like Luka doesn't get by people. They both lack that burst. Kevin Durant relies more on his length and stuff. But at least with Kevin Durant, when he gets stopped and he's turning around in the mid-range, that's 52% shots, 55% shots. With Luka Doncic, it's not. That's not what it's been. That's why the concerns with Luka are real. Luka last year, have the conversation, that's fine. But this year has been a very, very clear regression. And like, I'm comfortable saying this Luka Doncic, as we are watching him right now, he's not in and Kevin Durant isn't even in the conversation for best scorer in the league to me. To me, the conversation is, to me, it's Shea and then Jokic and then everyone else. Like, no one else.
There's a gap between everybody else.
Yeah, those two are the two best scorers in the league. Like, I would have Giannis in that group, in that next group, that third or something. A healthy Joel Embiid, if that exists. But even him, I'm not having him in the conversation. For the same reason, I'm not having Luka in the conversation. Because the Joel Embiid I saw this year, no, he's just not in these talks. The Luka Doncic I'm watching this year is not in the conversation for the best scorer in the league. Like, there's no way you can watch someone struggle to get by people as much as he is, struggle to create easy offense for himself as much as he is, and not be the outlier shooter like a guy like Kevin Durant is, and say, well, this guy can still be the best scorer in the league. Like, he can have explosions, absolutely. Last night against OKC is an explosion. The game, who did he have recently an explosion against?
Yeah, 35.
He had an explosion in the first quarter against Denver. That was crazy.
Right.
Like, he's capable of all of those things. But you'll notice all of those games where he explodes offensively, outlier 3-point shooting. That's what he has right now. Everything else is a struggle.
But he's always been he's always been a good 3-point shooter. Always been.
The last 2 seasons, yeah.
Yeah, he's been he wasn't always in the conversation as the best scorer in
the game. That's why I'm with you. The last 2 seasons. Yeah.
He's been a good 3-point shooter, and that's one of the main reasons why I feel like he was the best scorer in the game. On top of him getting downhill, his ability to stop and shift and get defenses off balance and fly by him with his ability to stop. He was doing that this year. He's still doing it. He might not be getting to the rim as much as he was last year or 2 years ago, but he's still getting to the rim and he still is scoring. That pull-up jump shot that he has in the mid-post, it still works, and he still gets to the free throw line, which he could be a little bit more efficient as a free throw shooter. But when I combine all of that stuff in, I still think that his ability, everything
he's shooting 39% from mid-range this year.
So that's almost 40% at the mid-range.
That's not good. Sure.
I didn't say it was bad. I
was just making sure you was aware.
I'm not saying that that's good, because we just had this conversation about Jalen Green shooting 35% in the mid-range. Yeah. So if 35% and 39% is way different than 45% and 49%. So those two things are not the same thing.
Yeah, what KD's are like 52.
53.
Okay, we've never argued that KD. I've never argued that KD.
So he's shooting better at the rim from mid-range and above the break threes this year.
So Swipe, I just want to make sure that when we're having this conversation about guys this year, that you don't bring up last year any point in any argument, because you've done that before in the past.
Well, it depends on what we're talking about.
No, it doesn't depend on what we're talking about, because that's exactly what my argument was about Luka. I was basing what Luka did. I was basing what Luka did, him being the best scorer in the game, coming into this season, of what he did last year, and the fact that before he got hurt, he was getting busy at that level as a scorer, and then he missed 2 months.
But I think when clear regression happens, I don't think you can look at the past. When players maintain like their level, like we can look at KD last season and look at KD this season,
sure,
and we can use that to broaden the sample, because KD for the most part is very similar. His shot profile's changed a little bit. He's getting a lot of mid-range jumpers closer to the rim, which I think benefits him. But for the most part, Kevin Durant is Kevin Durant. But Luka Doncic last season and this season are two completely different players, to where I can't agree with saying, based on last season, Luka can still be the best scorer in the league, when everything we're seeing this season suggests that we're not seeing last season's Luka. That's not the same person right now.
And I'm not going to argue that point, Mars. But the point I will counter with is, you're the one who told me this was just last year because we saw an outlier with Joker in terms of his shooting. Is this the regression of Joker shooting wasn't very good last year? In fact, you were very concerned with his ability to shoot last year.
In the playoffs and then the Olympics.
Right. And then in this season, he comes out and he blows everybody out of the water with his shooting. So this may be an outlier with Luka.
Absolutely.
Well, he flips every other year as a 3-point shooter though. So he just
but never to this level.
I mean, obviously,
even with Jokic, like
his interior scoring is what makes him.
I'm not saying Jokic is the best big man shooter in the league. Like he's not better than Cat at shooting in my opinion.
No,
because he's having this outlier, this amazing season. Now, if he maintains this going forwards, then we're like, okay, well, this was the turning point. With Luka, next year, maybe Luka's back at 24 Luka levels. And then I'll be right there with you to have the conversation about best scorer in the league. But this Luka, where it looks like from my eye test, he is just clearly worse. Like he's just clearly worse. I can't just be like, well, last year he was really this good, so I'm just going to give him that benefit of the doubt. When it looks like his burst is short, and we saw this in the postseason last year. So this isn't just a this year thing. We saw it in the postseason last year when he was playing through those injuries. The burst was worse. And the one series in which he scored at an amazing level was the series against the Timberwolves, in which the pull-up three was going at a ridiculous rate. Like if we're at a point with Luka where the way in which he gets his volume is pretty much solely based on pull-up threes, I don't think he can be the best scorer in the league with just that, with that being his main weapon. What made Luka so dangerous was he had the post-up game. He was able to get by you whenever he wanted. He was able to get downhill. He was able to get into that mid-range and make 49% of them. Most of that stuff has disappeared. That's the problem with Luka.
Which is a fair statement, and I can counter that by saying I think that Luka is having a down year, but still is the best scorer in the game.
But I guess you have 3 years now with SGA, 3 straight, where he's 30 on like 65, 64, or 64, 63, basically. Like
100%.
But then you have 5 years from Jokic where he's at 26 and like 65 minimum. So, or 64 and a half minimum, whatever else it is. Like, so even in, I have a large sample size for the other two. Then you have the Embiid years where he was going crazy. I think Luka is just like, he's one of the best scorers in the league.
I think last year Luka's in the conversation. And I'm with you on that. He's in the conversation. I'll have that conversation. I'm not sure he's top of that conversation. I think Shea and Jokic probably do have something to say about that. But he's in the conversation. And if your position is, I think Luka is the best or is in the conversation, because I still think he has last year's Luka in him. He's just not at that level right now.
I think we're in a down season. That's
if that's the case, that's fine. Because like 2022 Steph was a down season, but Steph wasn't a worse basketball player. If that's the point you're making, I can understand that.
It's not just a down season, though.
Well, but hold on. But Teflon also asked it. This is when Mars asked the question in safe space, and then it proceeded not to make it a safe space, by the way. Where I said, what is Luka's scoring post the Clippers series? And I think he was at 30 on 58. Like, that's not great. Like, you know what I mean? It's like it was like 46, 34, I think 72 splits. Like, even in the playoffs, Luka hasn't been like spectacular consistent.
Yeah, y'all, but come on. Now y'all starting to kind of it's Luka, though.
No. We're comparing him. No, this is what I don't appreciate how y'all do this. I really don't like this. We're having a conversation relative.
We know why you're doing this, Swiper.
No, we're having it relative to his peers. This is the whole conversation.
And relative to his peers, he's the Don.
No, he's not.
Yes,
like I'm saying, if you compare him to the other players, compare him to the rest of the people in the league.
Even this season, though. Okay.
What does that mean? What does that mean? So no matter what numbers I throw out, no matter what the information says, it's just he's the Don just because you say so.
I can look at the numbers too, and then also too, one thing that you and Mars, because we can also throw some context in there too. And it's two things. One thing is contextual, and one thing is just something that just hasn't been mentioned yet. I don't know if you guys, I stepped away for a second, so I don't know if you guys mentioned it, but Luka's still getting to the free throw line 9 times a game.
Oh yeah,
so like that is a method in scoring, and he gets to the free throw line more than Kevin Durant.
So absolutely, he gets to the free throw line more than Shea.
It's so that's the thing. He's scoring at the line. So you guys can say, 2-point percentage, 3-point percentage. He's getting to the line, and Luka's always going to get to the line.
Relative to their peers, Swiper, can you give me legit logic that Joker's a better scorer than Embiid? Like, let's
no, not chill. He can give you logic.
Swiper can make the case. There's going to be a lot of playoff stuff and ignoring.
Yeah, I think
logic. It's not going to be legit, but he's going to give you logic.
So what I say is not legit because
no, Swiper, stay with me.
Because-
Swiper,
well, I
stay
just
with
want
me.
to know why does it move with me?
Well,
I'm trying to understand that.
What you're going to
Because
say
it's
is going to be
Jokic.
based on postseason injuries. That's what you're going to say is going to be based
And
on postseason
bias,
injuries.
postseason injury and bias.
So you think this is what I'm saying.
I
Like,
don't want to take the conversation.
so
all
this is
stirred
what
up
I
in
this,
one
so
time, but this is
Jokic. Now, can I do this for the PCL debate that I didn't have, by the way? It's the only players that are shooting above 64 on 26 a game for 4 straight years are him and Steph ever. And like that's you got to modern adjust that obviously, but like I think that some of the so four straight years of 26 a game on 64 or more true shooting. It's Jokic and it's Steph, I believe. And you can correct. There might be one more name, but I believe it's Jokic and Steph. Like
but like the reason I think, sorry, you can carry on after this, but the reason I think that's somewhat disingenuous, like Embiid never did that. He was in 21, he was 63.6, so he was close.
Right.
In 22, he was 61.6, so about 2.5% off. And then 23 and 24, he was 65.5 and 64.4, respectively. But one of them is averaging 33 points per game while doing that. And
I agree with you, but that was just the first part, though. I think that in the regular season, there's a level of consistency we've gotten from Joker that like we just haven't seen a lot. I do think consistency matters over the stretch of years.
Sure.
And I think on top of that, like this is Jokic's 5th straight high volume efficient season, and maybe his best volume scoring season. And then in the playoffs, I really don't like he's been a monster for 4-5 straight playoffs. So like some of this is just like what do you actually care about? And I think it just depends on how like are you going regular season scoring peak, which is fine. I think Embiid has that conversation. Like I think he was a better scorer than Luka, like in the 34 games. Like I think that's really a conversation. I think SGA deserves to be there. I think Luka's also really good depending on the shot volume it takes. Giannis is only shooting I think 31 on 61 this year, which is lower for Giannis than it was, I think, in the previous years. Yeah, free throws and 3-pointers. Like he's having a worse year, both of those things. Yeah, finishing last year, he was at 82%.
He's taking more mid-range shots. He's taking less three. So that's cool. The free throw percentage going down has hurt him, and the rim percentage going down a bit has hurt him as well. So
but I think he's in the conversation as well. So I feel like there's probably 3 names that I would take our best scorer in the league, and I think Embiid is no longer in it. Because I just don't think he's the health stuff.
The Embiid I saw this year definitely isn't in those.
But SGA was okay. He was good in the first round, but I think he was excellent in that next round. His shooting splits were insane versus Dallas, especially given the coverages and stuff he was seeing. I think Luka's still in it, but I don't know. Like again, I feel like it's better for somebody else to talk about Joker at this point because I don't think Ron's going to say that.
2024 Luka is in the conversation to me.
Yeah,
this Luka is, but 24 Luka is.
All I'm gonna say is, if I was to tell you guys, next season when we have somebody's gonna average 35 or 34, and I was like, you only have 3 names to choose from. What would you think the 3 names would be?
Wait a minute.
Luka's gonna be on that.
Shea, Luka, and Embiid. So
let's and this is where it gets and to Swiper's point. This is where it gets skewed with me because Luka can that 35 a game Luka averaged last year. If I can get a healthier Luka and a more downhill Luka, if that 35 was 29 on better efficiency or 30 on better efficiency, I'm taking that over 35 a game, Luka.
Oh, absolutely. If you give Luka his burst back that he had in 22, 23, you get Luka that burst back, I'm all in for the conversation. I'm not trying to hate on Luka. If it's coming across that way,
we're having a conversation.
This Luka I'm watching right now. Do you guys remember the first year after James Harden hurt his hamstring, like when he was in Philly?
Yeah.
2022 season. That's how Luka looks. Like he looks like James Harden hamstring injury in terms of burst. And that's bad. Like James Harden was like 32,
but
33.
You guys know though, bad. Like you guys do know that Nico Harrison tried to tell you niggas about this and y'all got mad at him. Now check Nico out.
Good job, Nico.
That y'all didn't know.
Good job, Nico. AD looks amazing.
Yeah, hit that game winner the other night too. Shout out AD.
It's the player choice way. Yeah, them boys don't get it started. The player choice way. Yeah, the player choice way. Come and switch lanes into the player choice way.